Okay. Well, hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm going to be talking about affordable landscaping, and I hope it's helpful. All of my ideas may not be easy, but I am making one promise tonight. I promise you will not hear any political ads for the next 30 minutes.
Yay.
Okay. So, if I were to give you, if somebody were to give you $100,000 cash tonight to each participant, and you'd have to use it on your landscape, how would you use it? What would you do? I want you to
respond.
Yeah, if somebody, I would love to hear from a couple of people, and you can use chat or you can just go ahead and talk.
I'd hire you.
Okay.
I would get rid of all my grass.
Okay.
Me too. I get rid of all my grass and replace all the plants with edibles.
Okay. Who is that?
Destiny.
Okay.
Yes.
I would terrace my backyard and replace my lower deck.
Okay. Yeah. And you know,
I agree with Destiny. I do the front all in edible, beautiful things, and then the back put in new raised gardens.
okay.
I'm hoping the other line.
Okay.
I put a pond in.
Well, I just want you to kind of think, master dream plan as we're going through this class, or this workshop, I should say. Okay, let's see here. Oh, I guess I have to use the arrows at the bottom. Okay. These are just some possibilities. Maybe you want to have some more spaces that facilitate good family time, better entertaining, better party spaces. Some people may want perennial gardens or cut flower gardens. Let's see. Some people may want tranquil, just make some nice pathways, children's play spaces, and this is a raised bed so you can grow food. And then you might want to, that's me, create some spaces where you can just chill on the weekend. And if you're here because you feel like your landscape is out of control and, oops, I don't even know how I did that. And you're feeling like your landscape is just another to-do thing on your list and you're simply overwhelmed, I want you to think about how your landscape could help you. And by that, I mean, when I'm working with clients, especially they've got high stress jobs, it's just like their homes are their oasis, and your home is your oasis too. And what do you want to see when you drive home? Some people, they just want green and lush. Some people want to see flowers and it just calms them. Some people just want to see order because there's just chaos otherwise. Anyway, just think about how it can serve you. Okay. So, how do I get that scribble off the screen, Gary? I don't even know how I did that. I guess I won't worry about it. Okay, so my goal today is to encourage you. I want, know what your landscape can do for you, and I want you to think about your landscape serving to exist for you, to serve you. Good friends of mine, I'll say, your stuff serves you. You don't serve your stuff. In other words, if there's, a box you're always walking around in the house, whatever, old clothes, if they're not serving you in any way, get rid of it. And I think you should have that mindset about your landscape too. You want it, whatever it may be. And I would like you to be able to complete one task in your garden this week, bringing you closer to your ideal landscape. So, and I've got kind of like 3 categories to help you. One of them that makes a huge improvement to your landscape is just cleaning it up. And hopefully this is nobody's yard here. I've seen a lot of that. My yard has been close to that at times. But it's very easy to improve that. Let's put it that way. So I just wanted to show you some simple before and afters that are, to a large degree, just about tidying your landscape. And they don't really cost anything or cost very little. Like here is a before. So you're seeing are you guys seeing your images there, or do you see my full screen? Let me skip this.
We see your screen. You're okay.
Oh,
A top and bottom image?
yeah. Okay, there we go. Okay. So you can see a before and an after here. And to me, that looks a whole lot better, and it wasn't necessarily a whole lot of work. And it didn't cost, maybe it didn't cost anything. Maybe they paid for the rocks. And here's another one. Here's a before, and look at the paving, and here's an after, and day and evening. And I don't think they spent any money. If you go back to the before, you can see it's the same furniture, they just cleaned it up. Okay, which is a huge improvement to me. And it didn't cost a cent. I mean, you don't even want to be in that first, oops, let's see, it's going the wrong way. You don't even want to be in that first space, but the second space is just like, oh yeah, that's really nice. And they can do movie nights. And here's another before and after. The before isn't too bad. You can see the air conditioning unit. And in the after, they put an enclosure where they've got hanging gardens. It's pretty simple. It's pretty low maintenance. And I think it's really nice. Okay, here's another before and after, which is really just cleaning things up. But this one is a little bit more than that. But you can see the same fence, the same trees. And if cut stone isn't in your budget for the new, I'm looking at the old paving, and those pavers just need to be power washed, and they could have been reused. Yeah, it has a lot of potential. So what do you mean by tidying? Picking up unused items, pick up natural landscape debris, mulch. So, pick up any debris. And, we probably don't have garbage strewn around our yard. But I know for me, when I go away on vacation, I love to come home and just look at my landscape and just see, oh, I've been looking at those, black 1-gallon cans over there for months, and I haven't even noticed them. Just kind of looking at things with a fresh eye and getting rid of anything I don't really need. Pick up natural landscape debris. That could be a full-time job where I live. I'm just like, I don't mind the fir needles. I just let a lot of things go. But I do like to go around and pick up some branches that are down and that kind of thing. And then mulch. Okay. And so why do we want to mulch? Because it keeps the weeds down, it keeps the moisture in, and it improves soil. And I think it looks nice. And so how do you sheet mulch? First, you want to lay down cardboard, newspaper, other thick paper. You want to wet the cardboard, and then you lay 3 to 5 inches of mulch or wood chips. And this is, I wish I could get that scribble out of there, but I don't know how. Okay, so this is the front of my house. My husband and I, the edges of our lawn are just kind of wavy, irregular, and so we wanted to give it a crisp edge. And so we did a sheet mulching project in just this small area. And this is the before. We laid out the bed line. You can use a hose. I used some string. Sorry, I'm okay. Oh, just a second. Okay. There you go. And we took it from there. So, and this is the after. So we just used a shovel and took out a strip of sod and then put down our newspaper, or actually we used cardboard, wet it really well. And you don't have to use any edging material. Anytime I dig a hole on my property, I find a rock. So I have no shortage of rocks. So I like to edge the beds in rock. And then also when Robert is mowing, he's got a mow band to use, and we filled it with, you want 3 to 5 inches of mulch behind it. And then I cut some holes in and added some anemones. And it didn't cost a cent. Well, because I had the mulch. And as far as like, okay, mulch is a generic term. It could be wood chips. It could be the mulch that you buy at Swanson's. Yeah, and you can get wood chips for free from like a local tree trimmer. I know Champ's Tree Service is a local one. You might be able to call them. And then there's a place in Longview where you can get free wood chips. And I can include that resource, or Gary has the resource too. We'll be sure it's included with the workshop.
Yeah, the city of Longview, if you contact the city of Longview, they'll give you a truckload of them. And if you're really nice, sometimes they will deliver, but I won't guarantee that.
Yeah. And, you know, in the last community I lived in, I was the head of the Beautification Advisory Committee. And anytime there was an area in the town that people just wanted to freshen up, the first thing we would do was go in and sheet mulch. That would just get rid of all the weeds. And you don't need to get rid, you know, like sheet mulching is wonderful. Are you guys familiar with sheet mulching? For the most part?
Let's say no.
No.
Okay, then I'm not being, redundant or, so yeah, sheet mulching, if you have an area, you know, the people that want to get rid of their lawns, what you do is you just save up cardboard, or I'm sure you could get it for free someplace, and have a load of wood chips delivered to your house. Just lay that cardboard down. It's better to wet it. You don't have to. And lay those wood chips on top of the cardboard. And now is a really good time to do it with the winter and the rains coming. And you don't even have to do anything this fall. And then come spring, all of the weeds underneath are dead, or the lawn, whatever you have. And you can just dig holes, you know, push the wood chips aside, dig some holes, and plant whatever you want to plant. You have like a blank palette. It's pretty incredible. So anyway, what I was saying, in the community I used to live in, we would just sheet mulch any areas that were eyesores. And sometimes we would plant them right away. And sometimes it would be 6 months, a year, sometimes 2 years before we would get to it. But in the meantime, it would keep the weeds down. And then when we're ready, it's a clean slate. And it also looks nice as opposed to just a bunch of weeds, I think. Okay, so how do I give my landscape bones? So yeah, the next section is to give your landscape bones, or to give it structure. You know, just think about a human body. You know, if we didn't have our skeleton, you know, we would just be amoebas on the ground. So anyway, bones, structures, it's really good for a landscape. So how do you do that? You want to create a master plan, you want to create hierarchy, and you want to use repetition. So create a master plan. Even if you got a little postage stamp of a yard like I had for years in California, or if you've got acres, you know, create a master plan in your mind, going back to, you know, how you want to use your space, how you want your space to serve you. And it can be as simple as like a bubble diagram to start with. I like to start with bubble diagrams because, you know, suppose you want to do vegetable gardening. You know, you're going to put your bubbles where you get the best sun. Say you want to do vegetable gardening and you want to have a nice garden to sit in the evening where you get some shade and you've got a nice view of the sunset. So, you know, that would be in a particular area of your yard. And this is what I did here is I used just a survey from a contractor. And this was for a client, and I just did a quick sketch right on top of the survey. no computer drafting or anything. Sometimes if it's just a quick consultation for a client, I'll go on Google Maps and just print out their property and put it to scale, and I'll just do a plan right on top of a Google map. And you can do the same. It's pretty easy, but it's nice to have a master plan. Let's see. And also you can download software and just knock yourself out if you really want to get into the design phase. And then you want to create hierarchy. So with hierarchy, I'm talking about like focal points. You don't want every place you look to be a focal point. You want to have hierarchy. You want to have like a primary focal point and then minor focal points. And then colors, you might want to have areas where you've got lots of color and then other areas where they're just kind of muted and not so much color. Think of it, in plant heights and sizes too. Think of it as like, for music people, there's fortissimo and pianissimo. There's a super loud and then there's soft. If it was just super loud the whole time, think about the canons in the 1812 overture, Tchaikovsky, it would be like, enough, I can't take it. And then, if it's just a soft whisper all the time. So it's nice to have variety. You want a hierarchy. Do I make sense?
Yes.
Okay. And then another thing that's nice to have, let me go back to that picture though. There was a reason I used that particular picture. So in this, this was one of my earlier zoo gardens, garden plans. And I'm using, I've got palm trees in here. So that's the higher plants. And then I've got the lower shrubs. And then I've got, succulents and perennials. So there's these hierarchy of plants. And also going on to the next one, when I talk about repetition, I'm also kind of using the same color palette. It's kind of mute, but anyway, it's good to have hierarchy and repetition. And repetition might seem really boring, but it's good. It's not as boring as people think it is. So repetition, this is from my property. My husband does chainsaw carving. So as you walk around my property, you're going to see different sculptures. So a repetition on my property are these sculptures. A repetition on my property is I have lots of the Pacific sword ferns and Oregon grape, as opposed to, just different plants everywhere. It's nice to repeat plants, and it's nice to repeat building materials. Like say you have an entry gate with a little stone patio, it would be nice to use that stone or a similar stone close to it in the back on the patio. It just kind of ties everything together. Okay, and then after you have your plan and you're working your plan, you just want to fill it in over time. So like with this landscape, you can see there's the hardscape there. Usually the bones are the hardscape and the large trees. And then these plants were all just little tiny plants, and now they're starting to fill in and grow. And you want to get your bones in. And like I said, that's usually, your paths, your patios, maybe a few large trees. And that's relatively low maintenance. It's just keeping it tidy. And then as time allows, you can fill in your landscape with, color, perennials, food, whatever meets your needs. And it's just another picture of the same landscape, just kind of filling in. This particular client, she used her patio a lot, but she also looked down on it from the second story. And so I gave her like a tapestry of color. And she was very happy with it and colors that she liked. So I'm just kind of leaving you with two questions, and I do have some other things to share afterwards that are more the affordable aspect, is what do you want your landscape to do for you, And what step can you take toward your ideal landscape this week? And, you know, just thinking about what you want your landscape to do for you. It's really good to have a master plan as opposed to, you know, you go to the store, you see some perennials you really love, and you know, you can easily spend hundreds of dollars just picking up plants at the nursery, and then you plant them and, you know, they don't really match anything else that you've already put in, and, you know, you kind of like them. Anyway, you end up with a hodgepodge that you spent a lot of money on that you're not really happy about, and maybe it ends up being a whole lot more high maintenance than you want it to be. So that's why I just kind of encourage a master plan for what you do. And also, just one of the things that I love about landscaping as opposed to house remodeling. So, you know, if you're doing say a bathroom remodel, you can't, I mean, you have to have everything in full size, perfect when it's done. Whereas when you're landscaping, you can do it in phases, you know, like I talked about, you know, you do the sheet mulching. That costs nothing. And then as time allows and you have money, you can add plants, and they can be little 1 gallons as opposed to big 5 gallon or 15 gallon plants. And, you know, is when you remodel a bathroom, you can't get a mini toilet and water it, you know. It's, you know, it has to be complete when you're doing a remodel like that. So well-planned landscape efforts up front really yield generous rewards. And it's one of the few improvements you can do to your property where it actually increases in value as opposed to a bathroom remodel, which will decrease in value as soon as it's done. Yeah. Do you have any questions before I go on to some of the, I walked around my property and kind of took pictures of affordable landscaping things that people can do, like specifics. But I didn't want to get too hung up in specifics because I wanted you to think, you know, big picture and kind of figure it out from there. Like I said earlier, you know, you might want this beautiful flagstone patio. Well, maybe flagstone isn't in the budget, so you can get colored, you can get like crushed rock as a base, and then you can top dress it with decorative pebble. And I think that looks really nice. And you could edge it with stones like we did in our landscape bed. But this is a 1 gallon plant. This is a calocarpia. Can you guys see it? Should I make it big? I guess I can make them big. Let's see.
Could make it big, that'd be great.
Okay, so here's a calocarpia. It's just a shrub. It's a little 1 gallon. I'm sure I paid less than $10 for it. But it's going to be 10 feet by 10 feet. And look at those berries. Let me see if I can get the berries better. Oh, that's a picture of the tag. That's not, okay. So can you see those berries? Aren't they gorgeous? Yeah. So yeah, that was one of my husband's sculptures, and I showed you that. You know, and with the sculptures that I showed you, I mean, you might be a collector of something, and you can, like, and when we went through the Master Gardener class, we had one guy, Gary, who's a rock hound. I haven't been to his yard, but I understand the plants are pretty minimal, but he has all kinds of rock to show off his rock collection, and his yard serves him. So, yeah, your yard can be a good display case for you. Okay. Oh, here's one. This is actually a video. Let's see here. We had some trees cut down, so we temporarily edged the driveway with some of the logs. That's one thing you can do if you have, you know, whatever materials. So as far as the affordable aspect, whatever you have on hand is, you know, good to use instead of having to spend a lot of money. And And here's another,
If it's possible,
whoops, sorry here. Let me just turn up
if
this.
it's possible, it's nice to leave your property in a natural state or kind of let it, encourage it toward a natural state. When we moved here, the previous owners were pretty good about keeping the natives and getting rid of anything invasive, and we continued that. We mostly have Douglas fir, hemlock, Pacific sword ferns, and Oregon grape. And there's natives mixed in here too, but that's largely what you see. And you will see some blackberry. I see some I need to get out here and pull out. But this is very low maintenance, and we enjoy this space too.
And it didn't cost a cent. Very affordable if you wanted to just keep natural areas and yeah. So
Yeah, that would definitely speed it up.
yeah. And so talking about affordable landscaping, this was another thing that I did that cost very little money. Well, here, you can listen.
Here's an example of affordable landscaping
Oops,
that is
so
not
sorry.
very pretty, but it is very effective. I have a native dogwood tree that was transplanted from another property where it wasn't wanted.
Sorry.
A sucker. And it's been years now. And most of the they love to eat it in the fall. So I jerry-rigged this protection. And you can see any branches that stick out, the deer have thoroughly enjoyed. So I just found some sticks, and I bought some inexpensive netting, and I netted this dogwood, which I'll take the netting off as soon as all the leaves fall off. Netted that one, and I have a little Duartia over here. And the deer also like to munch on this in the fall only. Interesting. They decimated them last fall. So again, I just used inexpensive netting. I don't even know if you can see it.
Well, they might see
Around some sticks that
There's netting around it.
Yeah.
I didn't see the netting.
Well, you can see the deer haven't bothered this except for where I can see a few branches are sticking out. Last year there was like nothing left to it.
Yeah, critters, boy, they decimate.
They do. Yeah, and here's, another native Fragaria. There's the beautyberry. Oh, this is another thing. So, this is a blueberry plant, and I'm planting a hedge of blueberries, but I got most of my plants this size, and I forget how much they were a piece, but it's a huge savings. I mean, if I got 5 gallons or 15 gallons, I would probably get blueberries sooner, but it was very affordable to buy them as just little cell plants. There they are in the ground. Here's another thing. So, you can make steps just using landscape timbers and rebar. That's pretty affordable if you need to do that. And, you could backfill it with a free arbor mulch. That's just more of the steps. So any questions for me? So I'll show let's see, I'll do one more video. So this was an area that was overgrown with canary grass. And this last spring, I sheet mulched. So there used to be like 4-foot grass there. Now there's all these scraggly ferns that I transplanted from other places on my property. But
This is another angle of my former 4 or 5 foot patch of canary grass, and you may have gotten a glimpse of another one of my husband's fun sculptures. This is his crocodile. And the reason I am showing this is you may have an artist in your family or be a collector of something, and it's fun to incorporate it in the landscape. And the crocodile is looking out over the Kalama River, which for reference.
Okay. So I will end on that.